As Harvard University's collaborations with the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, come under increasing scrutiny, the material infiltration of American education by communism is finally being exposed. Yet more insidious and far-reaching is the ideological infiltration, hidden in plain sight and still largely unknown to the public. Academic disciplines should be neutral, free of predetermined ideological positions. Yet these emerging fields, such as women's studies, where professors invariably adhere to feminism, or black studies, where faculty inevitably believe that the political, economic, and cultural disadvantages faced by African Americans stem from white discrimination, are preloaded with ideological positions. Their purpose is not to explore truth, but to indoctrinate ideology. These disciplines were created by individuals with harmful ideologies, manipulated by the evil specter of communism, with the purpose of manufacturing and amplifying conflicts between different groups, inciting hatred and paving the way for eventual violent revolution. They have little connection to the groups they claim to represent, such as African Americans or women. This is no different from how the CCP incites farmers to hate landlords, students to hate teachers, children to hate parents, and Chinese people to hate America, using media, propaganda posters, massive parades, and other means to unleash a relentless propaganda war. At their core, they are the same. In their book, One Party Classroom, How Radical Professors at America's Top Universities Indoctrinate Students and Undermine Our Democracy, Horowitz and Laxon list over 150 of the worst courses at 12 universities. Some of these courses are cloaked in academic language, while others abandon even basic academic standards, making them resemble political classes taught in communist countries. Bill Ayers, a distinguished professor at the University of Illinois at Chicago, was a leader of the Weatherman organization in the 1960s. The FBI explicitly designated Weatherman, Weather Underground Organization, WUO, as a domestic terrorist organization which sought to incite radical American students to launch terrorist attacks to trigger a race war. The group carried out bombings at the Capitol, New York City Police Headquarters, the Pentagon, and National Guard Headquarters. Ayers, now a professor of early childhood education, has not changed his political views and remains proud of his past bombings. He rose through the ranks to associate professor, full professor, and eventually received the university's highest honor, distinguished professor and senior university scholar. Each promotion required the approval of his department and college faculty, meaning his elevation implicitly condones his past terrorist activities. Ayers is best known for his infamous quote, "Kill all the rich people, break up their cars and apartments, bring the revolution home, kill your parents, that's where it's really at." During China's Cultural Revolution, the CCP targeted rich people and the bourgeoisie as enemies of the revolution, seizing their assets. In land reforms, landlords were liquidated to take their land. The CCP encouraged family members, fathers and sons, husbands and wives, parents and children, to denounce each other for anti-party behavior or speech, pitting the masses against each other to manufacture class conflict. The similarities are striking. In 2008, the Intercollegiate Studies Institute randomly surveyed 2,500 Americans and found that only half could name the three branches of the U.S. government. In 2014, a student organization at Texas Tech University conducted a campus survey, asking three questions: who won the Civil War? Who is the vice president? And who did we gain independence from? Many students were clueless about these basic facts of American history and politics, yet they could recite details about celebrities' love lives. That same year, the National Assessment of Educational Progress found that only 18% of students were proficient in U.S. history, and on a 33-question civics test, 71% of Americans scored below 49 out of 100, with 60 as a passing score. A widely used U.S. history textbook, A People's History of the United States by Howard Zinn, a Marxist 18, portrays all heroic and inspiring stories in American history as shameless lies. It depicts American history as a dark saga of oppression, exploitation, and genocide. Similarly, CCP history textbooks marginalize and vilify China's historical figures and national heroes. Relationships of mutual respect between rulers and subjects, parents and children, or husbands and wives are labeled as oppression by the ruling class over the masses, women, and the disadvantaged. Traditional Confucian ethics are branded as restrictive, and the glorious Tang dynasty, when nations paid tribute to China, is dismissed as feudal backwardness. Meanwhile, the dark era following the CCP's seizure of power is glorified as the founding of China. Studying history is not just about understanding a nation's past, but also its foundational values and the sacrifices made to uphold them. Only then can people cherish what they have today and safeguard these traditions for future generations. However, when true history is replaced by ideology, people drift further from their cultural roots. Without knowing where they come from, they cannot know where they are headed. Dr. Fred Schwartz, a pioneer of the American anti-communist movement and author of You Can Trust the Communists to Be Communists, astutely observed, the three core tenets of communism are atheism, evolutionism, and economic determinism. The three core tenets of American public schools are atheism, evolutionism, and economic determinism. In other words, communist ideology has become the guiding principle of American schools. Divine created humanity, established moral standards, and prescribed how people should live. Belief in and reverence for divine is the foundation of all morality and the bedrock of human society. The evil specter of communism undermines morality primarily by forcibly promoting atheism and evolutionism in schools. In communist countries like China and the former Soviet Union, this coercion is overt. In the US, evolutionism is similarly mandated. In the early 1980s, former KGB agent Yuri Bezmenov revealed that communist ideological infiltration of the US was nearly complete. Even if Americans started educating a new generation now, it would take 15 to 20 years to reverse this trend, shift people's ideologically distorted perception of reality, and return to normalcy. Over a third of a century has passed since Bezmenov's warning. The devil's agents in the West have made education a primary target of infiltration, taking over primary, secondary, and higher education, influencing family education, fabricating educational theories, and reshaping educational philosophies. Education has become a disaster zone for communist infiltration. Under the guise of separation of church and state, communist agents in the U.S. oppose teaching creationism in public schools, mandating only evolutionism. Schools dare not cross this line. This education inevitably reduces the number of believers as people increasingly accept evolution as scientific truth. Children often trust their teachers' authority, and religious parents typically teach their children to respect educators. But when evolutionism is forcibly taught, children may challenge their parents' faith-based teachings or at least dismiss them. The result is that schools forcibly sever children from their believing parents, a profoundly evil aspect of anti-theistic education. Like the CCP embedding atheism in Chinese textbooks and forcing students to accept it, China's 5,000-year tradition of revering heaven and divine, believing that good is rewarded and evil punished, has been destroyed. With divine in their hearts, people restrain their behavior even when unwatched. In just a few decades, through revolutions and party culture education, the CCP severed the Chinese people's connection to divine. Using atheism and evolutionism, the evil specter of communism has quietly transformed divine's children into descendants of animals. Once humans abandon moral standards, they lose divine protection. Materialism and self-interest prevail, and without moral constraints, people dare to commit any evil. This is the root of societal unrest. Education is critical to individual well-being, societal stability, national development, and the survival of civilization. Great civilizations throughout history have prioritized education. In the East, the evil specter of communism massacred cultural elites, creating a cultural break while using education and propaganda to deceive. In the West, it employed infiltration and mutation, launching the progressive education movement under the banner of science and progress. It seized control of philosophy, psychology, and education, ultimately dominating the entire education system to indoctrinate teachers and administrators. To truly dismantle the evil specter of communism, it must be eradicated not only materially but also ideologically. Communism has systematically and destructively targeted China and its people, while also devouring the world in ways you might not expect. For more details, please watch how the specter of communism is ruling our world.